Hello, and thanks for joining us on another episode of The Eagle, a program that showcases the activities of the EFCC. I hope you are playing your part in seeing that corruption is brought to its barest minimum, if not totally eradicated. I am your host, Aisha Muhammad.
Imagine a society where everything works. Durable road networks, stable electricity supply, portable water, well-equipped and functional healthcare facilities, quality education for all, affordable housing schemes, social security benefits, job creation, and a lot more that makes life comfortable to live. That is an ideal society. We can only achieve these if we all play our part. Say no to corruption to enjoy these benefits. Kill corruption to save Nigeria. This message is from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
Today on The Eagle, PACAC lauds Magu on recovery of stolen assets. Anti-graft war, EFCC to establish diaspora information desks. Use social media wisely, EFCC advises students. This and more right after this timeout. Stay tuned. The Presidential Committee Against Corruption, PACAC, has commended the acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ibrahim Mustafa Magu, for his outstanding performance in tracing and recovering stolen assets. Chairman of PACAC, Professor Issei Sagi, gave the commendation at a town hall meeting on the fight against corruption, which took place at the NAF Conference Center, Kado, Abuja. He was represented by the Executive Secretary of the committee, Professor Sadiq Rada. Sagi praised the asset recovery record of the EFCC under Magu. Thelma AK tells us more.
The town hall meeting organized by the Federal Ministry of Information and its agency, the National Orientation Agency, had in attendance heads of the major anti-corruption agencies in Nigeria, Chairman EFCC Ibrahim Magu, Chairman ICPC Professor Bolaji Owosonoye, the Chairman Code of Conduct Bureau Mohammed Isa, the Inspector General of Police Adamu Mohammed, who was represented, and the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami, who was also represented by Abiodun Adedeji, Special Assistant to the President on Financial Crimes. In his presentation, Magu urged corrupt Nigerians with questionable assets abroad to take advantage of Executive Order 6 to return the stolen assets and get a soft landing. The EFCC boss, who described the fight against corruption as a divine mandate, urged all citizens to get on board. He particularly advocated stronger collaboration among security agencies involved in the fight against corruption.
Every Nigerian has a responsibility in the fight against corruption. Corruption is just like rain. When it's raining outside, it beats everybody. It won't beat the corrupt people. So we should put hands together and then we fight corruption. Fighting corruption is not only the work of the EFCC, ICPC, Code of Conduct, and the police. In the last 4 years, the EFCC, backed by the political will of President Muhammadu Buhari, has, through a combination of enforcement and preventive measures, proven that this monster can be tamed. All that is needed is combination of courage, guard, integrity, and determination. All of us must be determined to fight corruption.
Magu explained that the EFCC is focusing more on preventive measures in tackling the corruption menace, as it has been proven to be more cost-effective, noting that the investigative activities of the EFCC have helped to restore investors' confidence in the Nigerian economy. Speaking at the event, Minister for Information and Culture Lai Mohammed said the efforts of anti-corruption agencies in the fight against corruption has helped in minimizing the scourge of corruption. Mohammed emphasized that it is not the first time Nigeria is fighting the cankerworm of corruption, but it is the first time that the fight is being led by a president known for his honor, dignity, and incorruptible personality with strong political will to achieve the required results.
Today's special town hall meeting is on the fight against corruption. The fight against corruption is one of the three cardinal programs of the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, with the others being the war against insecurity and the revamping of the economy. Yes, this is not the first time Nigeria is fighting the cankerworm of corruption, but it is the first time that the fight is being backed by a strong political will, with a president renowned for his honor, dignity, and incorruptibility, personally leading the fight against corruption. And that is making all the difference, as you will soon hear from our panelists. One may say that the war against corruption is still a war in progress, but it's also fair to say that corruption has now been driven under the table, and that the corrupt ones can no longer flaunt the proceeds of their corruption the way they used to do before. That is a major step forward. After all, every successful battle is a step towards winning a war. The war against corruption is a war of survival for Nigeria. This is because the success of the other key programs of the government, such as revamping the economy and tackling security, is closely intertwined with how well the nation is able to fight corruption. For as long as the nation fails to check corruption, tackling insecurity, and the ramping of the economy will remain a mirage. In other words, the fight against corruption is pivotal to the success of the other cardinal programs of the administration.
The minister affirmed that for the nation to move forward in revamping the economy, there is the urgent need to check corruption and tackle insecurity. Special Assistant to President Muhammadu Buhari on Financial Crimes, Abiodun Adedeji, who represented the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, observed that introduction of bank verification number, integrated payroll and personal information system, and Treasury single account have strengthened the fight against corruption in Nigeria.
Like the president said, if we don't kill corruption, it is going to kill us. Now, it is in recognition of this that President Muhammadu Buhari's administration decided to focus, among other things, on the war against corruption. Corruption is so alluring that if you don't deal with it technically and professionally and effectively, efficiently, you are not likely going to achieve any result. We are collaborating with other anti-corruption agencies because we have realized that we cannot work in silos. We have created an ecosystem through which we can share data. It doesn't make any sense if the subject is anti-corruption. ICPC or Professor Wasonye is investigating, spending taxpayers' monies in millions of naira, and also EFCC is doing the same thing. So we have ensured a collaborative framework through which all the anti-corruption agencies can share data, information, and work together.
I am Telma AK reporting for the Eagle.
Corruption is dishonesty and illegal behavior by people in positions of trust. A public office is a public trust. Do not abuse positions of trust for private gains. Stay away from corruption. Nigeria is a great nation, and it is our responsibility to make the country greater. If you notice any act of corruption, please report to the EFCC via info@efccnigeria.org or call 09 904 4751 or 09 904 4752. You can also call 09 904 4753. This message is from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
Acting Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC, Ibrahim Mustafa Magu, has disclosed that a diaspora information desk will soon be established in the Commission to address issues and matters that affect Nigerians in the diaspora. Magu disclosed this in his remarks at the opening event of the Nigerian Diaspora Investment Summit 2019, themed Leveraging Diaspora Resources for Economic Growth, which held at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Abbas Abubakar Umar is our guide.
The anti-graft czar urged Nigerians in the diaspora to help in providing useful information on Nigerian looters who hide stolen funds abroad and buy properties in foreign lands with the country's stolen wealth, stressing that safety measures are in place to safeguard every investment in the country. The EFCC boss also commended the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission NIDCOM for initiating the investment summit aimed at harnessing the investment potentials of Nigerians in the diaspora, noting that the country's investment climate was safe as the federal government and the Anti-Graft Commission have enthroned a decent investment and business culture. While emphasizing that it was no longer business as usual in the country, he charged Nigerians at home and in the diaspora to join in the fight against corruption, observing that the EFCC and NIDCOM have the same mission of improving the image of the country in the Committee of Nations towards enhancing foreign investment inflow in the country. Abbas Abubakar Umar reporting for the Eagle.
Corruption is a cankerworm, na cankerworm. I said na cankerworm, na cankerworm. Corruption don't finish our country. Nigeria women rise up and come together, oh yeah.
Every woman come out, but we fight corruption together, oh. Every woman fall out, but we kill corruption together, oh.
Them they thief our money, send them obodo yibo. Children they suffer every day, better school in no day. Nigeria women come, oh, women from every sector, make we fight corruption, we won't kill our country. Them go collect money for light, chop the money, light we no see. Good road and good health and call, we no see. I said na cankerworm, oh, na cankerworm, oh.
Join the EFCC in its crusade to rid Nigeria of corruption. Naija, now we all know.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC has tasked Nigerian students to apply wisdom in the use of internet, especially in relating with the public, to avoid becoming victim of internet fraud and cyberbullying. The commission offered the advice when law students of Beijing University Abuja visited the EFCC headquarters in Abuja. Thelma Eke has the details.
A representative of the Commission, Saad Abubakar, who also heads the cybercrime unit at the EFCC headquarters, called on Nigerian students to stand up and be counted in the fight against corruption and financial crimes. Speaking on cyber hygiene, Abubakar pointed out the dangers in the misuse of mobile phones and social media, especially in downloading applications that require them to give access to their mobile devices. He said such requests are unfavorable to their privacy because the administrator of such apps is interested in the phone numbers, passwords, contacts, emails, and other vital information stored in the phones. He advised the students to protect their phones and other communication gadgets by activating their screen locks and changing of their passwords regularly to minimize the chances of hacking by internet fraudsters. He also counseled the students to refrain from storing compromising files like pictures and photos, but always try to configure their device's privacy and browser setting to enable device encryption. Another staff of the commission, Mrs. Chinwendu Ndobeze, who spoke on the role of lawyers in the fight against corruption, called on the students to be guided by the law and their conscience. She said lawyers are the fulcrum in the fight against corruption because of the role they play, stressing that a lawyer must first of all obey his conscience before that of the clients, adding that if a lawyer can get it right in the fight against corruption, then half of Nigerians' problem will be solved. Ndubeze stressed that as a lawyer, your integrity will be tested, so you have to stand on the side of the truth and don't compromise. A lecturer in the Department of Legal Studies of the university, Tosi Oke, while appreciating the efforts of the Commission in the fight against corruption, urged the EFCC not to relent. In a related development, students of IQ Academy, Abuja, who came on excursion to the Commission, were advised to be careful in posting information regarding their private lives, family, and other social engagements, as such disclosures could increase their vulnerability to cybercrime. They were advised to be good students and ambassadors of Nigeria, as they are the future of Nigeria. Highlights of their visit was a facility tour of the EFCC headquarters. Thelma Eke, reporting for the Eagle.
Education is the process of facilitating learning or the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, and habits. Educational methods include storytelling, discussion, teaching, training, and directed research. Education frequently takes place under the guidance of educators. However, learners may also educate themselves. Education can take place in formal or informal settings, and any experience that has a formative effect on the way one thinks, feels, or acts may be considered educational. Formal education is commonly divided into such stages as preschool or kindergarten, nursery, primary school, secondary, and then college, university, or apprenticeship. A right to education has been recognized by some governments and the United Nations. In most regions, education is compulsory up to a certain age. There is a movement for education reform, and in particular for evidence-based education. With the importance of education, today on The Eagle, our correspondent Ilyasu Haruna Bala had a chit-chat with some key players in the education sector to talk on corruption in that area.
Educational corruption is an aspect of corruption that is perpetuated within the educational institutions. Today, our tertiary institutions, which include universities, polytechnics, monotechnics, School of Nursing and Health Technologies, and colleges of education, appear not to be functioning effectively. There are cases of students being exploited by staff, recruitment and promotion of staff being based on political patronage instead of merit. There are cases of abuse of office by those in authority. Other biases include admission racketeering, hostel profiteering, sorting, examination malpractice, sexual harassment, among others. All these social biases are sign of a big rot in our tertiary institutions and portend danger for the entire Nigerian nation. It shows absolute lack of credibility in our tertiary institutions service delivery. Vice Chancellor of Best University, Abuja, Professor Tahir Mamman, and Dr. Eric Omazu, a lecturer of philosophy at the National Open University of Nigeria, in this interview, tell us more about the causes of corruption in our tertiary institutions and also proper solution on the issue.
Some of the vices which we find in the society also find their way in higher institutions. And in our own case, the basic reason is people want to get certificates, qualifications without working for it. If it is in relation to students. Because I assume you are talking about academic corruption in relation to students. And that's basically the reason. People come here, there's a time for studies. There's a requirement as to what somebody needs to do to graduate. And then the student may find himself weak or not having the time, or simply believing, like in the way sometimes we do things in Nigeria, money can buy anything. You know, they resort to all these things. The problem of people wanting to make money here and there, irrespective of the means, is there. And the dulling of our sense of appropriateness, sense of rightness, morality. This is what is contributing to some of these problems. Because teachers, to the best of my knowledge, in decades back, were actually the moral compass of society. But now we find a lot of people who are not really manifesting that characterization, and then teaching too. It used to be a kind of calling. You have to be interested in order to come into it as a profession. Now you find a lot of people in teaching who are just there, just like any other job. And so when somebody sees that as any other job, rather than a job where he molds characters, then he could be tempted to behave like any other employee. So these are, to me, some of the problems. And then a lot of times too, the conditions of service contribute, because people need to be in a place where they can get the basic things of life with some ease through their formal income. Every person wants to have a house, a home. You can retire to, you want to have a means of transport, because the public transport system here is very bad. And you have to attend to your medical needs when somebody goes sick, and he will go sick himself or family members. So you'll be able to attend to all those needs, because the health insurance scheme that was supposed to be in place is simply not there. It's not functional.
You actually cannot hold one person responsible for the corruption in the education system. I like the way you started. You mentioned the family. That will teach us how to be human. That will make us to learn how to be human. That will expose us to principles of being human. And that is ethics. That is character formation. So if we must tackle the issue of corruption in our system as a nation, in our educational sector, in every sector within our national culture, we must focus and invest more on character formation, character building of our young people.
Well, thank you so much, Ilyasu, for that report. As said by the former South African President Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. So let's all try our best to see that our children are given the best of education, as it is the passport to the future. With that, we have come to the end of today's episode of The Eagle. You too can be part of this program by sending your inquiries and suggestions to The Eagle at efccnigeria.org, or follow us on all our social media platforms at official EFCC. You can also send your petitions to info@efccnigeria.org. My name is Aisha Mohammed. Be patriotic citizens by joining hands with the anti-corruption agencies to see that corruption is brought to its barest minimum. Do your part, stay clear of corruption, and report such to relevant authorities. Goodbye, and God bless Nigeria.